This video will look at how to create a Moodle assignment. Enter the unit and select Turn Editing On. Within the correct topic space, choose Add an Activity or Resource. At the top of the activities list, you will see Assignment. Select this and choose the Add button. Give your assignment a name and then a description, highlighting to the student what it is you're expecting them to hand in. In this case, I'm going to write, please submit your 1,000-word essay. The ability to add extra files is done through the Additional Files section, where you may add something like a grading criteria. Through the availability, the first option is Allow Submissions From. This is when the students can start handing in their work. So select the date, the month and the year, and you can change the time to fit your particular needs. I'm going to start this from lunchtime. The due date is when it is expected to be handed in by the student. Choose that particular date, in this case the 27th of October. The cutoff date helps handling of late submissions. This will stop late submissions after a particular date. So the due date is when it will be late from, but the cutoff date stops the student handing in after this point. So I've set this to be the 16th of November at midnight. The last option is Remind Me to Grade By. This does not send an email to an academic saying that the work needs to be graded. However, what it will do is if you have the calendar block on your unit, you will then see a handy reminder of when you need to start the grading process. This is obviously optional and can be turned off. Submission types allows you to choose what types of submission are coming into the unit. You have the new large file upload beta. This is submitting documents through Google Drive, but within the Moodle environment. File submissions goes directly into the Moodle framework, and this is capped to 100 megabytes. You can also choose to have online text where the student would type directly into the Moodle framework rather than maybe submitting a PDF or Word file. If you choose to use none of these, Moodle will create a grading framework allowing you to assess maybe a presentation or something where the student doesn't directly hand something in or upload it into Moodle. In this case, I'm going to choose file submissions, and as you can see, we could have up to 20 files uploaded within this document. If you need more, then use the large file uploader and maybe zip them into one file where you can have multiple files within that. The maximum submission size of a normal submission is 100 megabytes. And you're now able to choose which file types are accepted by typing them in. So in this case .pdf, I've added a comma to separate them, then a .doc, comma, and then docx as well. The word limit relates to online text, so you can't enable it unless the online text option is selected, and then you can choose the word limit that the students would be working to if they were typing directly into Moodle. The feedback types allowed are feedback comments, feedback files, and an offline grading worksheet, as well as commenting in line to their submission. Feedback comments, if enabled, allow the marker to leave feedback comments for each submission. Feedback files allows the academic to add more than just the submission that was made, so maybe an MP3 voice feedback, maybe extra commented Word documents back into the student's grading area. The offline grading worksheet allows you to download a comma-separated value or CSV file that opens in Microsoft Excel, and this will then allow you to complete the grades as well as any feedback comments offline to be uploaded back into Moodle at a later time when you have an internet connection again. If blind marking is set up, then student IDs are replaced with just participant IDs that you tie to the paper. If enabled for comment in line, the submission text will be copied into the feedback comment field during grading, making it easier to comment in line, using maybe a different colour so you can edit then the original text as well. Within submission settings, there's an option to require the students to click a submit button. If you choose to have this option turned on, the student must click the submission button, otherwise it is not counted as a final submission. Requiring the student to accept the submission statement means the student will say this work is not plagiarized and it is their own work and click completed by themselves. With attempts reopened, there are three options. You can either never have them reattempt it, you can manually set it, or automatically until they pass, getting a completed grade. If you choose manually, then again you have unlimited up to 30 attempts that the student can make. However, in this case I'm leaving it as never. You can do group work and group submissions within Moodle assignment. and you can choose to have the students submit their work within a group. The required group to make a submission setting relates to the groups and groupings options within the back end of Moodle and in the administration panel. Requiring all group members to submit is an option that would allow the students to either have one person submit all the work and it just gets automatically dispersed to the other students' accounts, or if you are choosing to have them click a submit button, then you can make sure that all group members must submit a piece of work. It may be the same one, but more often it would be different parts of their assignment, maybe reflective reports that go towards different individual grades as well as the group work that they have done. The last option, grouping for student groups, shows you that I've got 4 student groupings: field trips, lab experiments, marking and self-mark. Now, these would have again been created within the administration panel beforehand, but I could add my grouping should I need to filter off the students in the student groups for that particular activity. Under notifications, you can choose to have the graders, in this case academics, notified whenever a submission is made. You can do the same for late submissions, so that you can keep on top of maybe the late submissions coming in for marking. And the default for notifying the students is yes, as this will only go to the single student that made that submission. It is now possible to have a Turnitin plagiarism report delivered directly to within the Moodle assignment framework. So enable Turnitin. You then choose whether to display the originality report to the students, and the default for this is yes. When the file is first uploaded, you can choose to have it submitted to Turnitin or once it's been sent for marking. Allowing any submission file type is set to no. This will stop any formats that Turnitin can't accept going in. And then it will just be set to check against all the standard student papers, internet and journals. The report generation speed allows you to choose whether the reports are generated immediately and no submissions re-allowed. Immediate reports with submissions being allowed to be updated until the due date, or the report generation only on the due date, where submissions are allowed up until the due date. The next section shows where you can exclude the bibliography, quoted material and maybe small percentage matches of words from the report, so it would keep the score slightly lower. You can choose to have it a scale or a point option for a grade, and the standard obviously is out of 100. And you can choose within Moodle assignment to have a simple direct grading, a marking guide or a rubric created. In this case we use simple direct grading. The grade category relates to where in the gradebook it will appear. So unless you've created categories, uncategorized is not a bad thing. It will just create its own single column. Blind marking is also anonymous marking. That's default turned on. You've also got the marking workflow and marking allocation. These will be covered in another video. Common module settings allows you to either show the availability of the resource, or it is hidden, or available but not shown on the course page. Once you're completed, click Save and Return to Course. Now in this case, what we've noticed is the remind to grade me is before the due date. You cannot set a grade to remind you maybe a day or two before that's actually ready for submission. So you must set this to be after the due date. As you scroll back down, you'll notice I also misspelled the accepted file type of .docx. So it will tell you that it is not a recognized file type. Once you're happy with all the settings again, scroll to the bottom and save and return to course. Unless you wish to view it, then save and display. Thank you very much for watching this particular video.